In October 2017, actor Anthony Rapp gave an interview to BuzzFeed News, alleging that Spacey had made a sexual advance toward him in 1986, when Rapp was just 14 years old. According to Rapp, Spacey, then 26, picked him up, laid him on a bed at a party, and climbed on top of him in a clearly sexual manner. Rapp managed to escape, but the incident stayed with him for decades. Spacey responded via Twitter, stating he didn't remember the encounter but apologized if it happened. His apology was controversial, not just for its vagueness, but because he used it to publicly come out as gay for the first time, a move many saw as an attempt to deflect from the seriousness of the accusation. After Rapp's story, more than 30 others came forward with similar claims. Many were young men, some underage at the time, alleging that Spacey had groped, harassed, or assaulted them over the course of his decades-long career. The backlash was swift and severe. Netflix severed all ties with Spacey, halting production of House of Cards, and eventually killing off his character in the final season. Spacey was removed from the film All the Money in the World, and his scenes were reshot with Christopher Plummer just weeks before the release date. Several planned projects, including a Gore Vidal biopic starring Spacey, were canceled entirely. His agency, CAA, dropped him. His reputation, once among the most revered in acting circles, was irrevocably damaged. Over the years, there were occasional murmurs about Ellen being cold or difficult off-camera, often from fans who had met her or former employees. Stories circulated on Twitter and Reddit, but they were easy to dismiss as one-offs or gossip. The tone began to shift in 2020. In July 2020, BuzzFeed News published an exposé featuring interviews with 11 former employees of the Ellen DeGeneres show, who described a toxic workplace culture. They claimed they were fired for taking medical leave or bereavement days, faced racism, and were discouraged from raising complaints. Some key allegations included one black employee said she experienced microaggressions and was told by a senior producer, "I hope we don't confuse you with another black girl." Employees were instructed not to speak to Ellen or make eye contact with her. Several said they were fired after medical emergencies or personal crises. Though Ellen herself wasn't directly implicated in many of the worst allegations, the show's culture was widely criticized, and she was accused of being either complicit or neglectful as an executive producer. In 2021, Ellen announced that her show would end in 2022 after 19 seasons. She claimed it was her decision, not because of the backlash, but because she was no longer challenged by the format. Few believed it was unrelated to the scandal. Ratings had dropped dramatically. From 2019 to 2020, viewership declined by 43%. Advertisers began pulling out, and the once glowing public image had dimmed. Franco had long cultivated an image as a risk-taker, both on-screen and off. He was known for controversial artistic choices and a flurry of academic pursuits, earning degrees from Columbia, NYU, and other prestigious institutions. He taught film classes at various schools, and in 2014, he co-founded Studio 4, an acting school in Los Angeles and New York. It was at Studio 4 that many of the most serious allegations would originate. Several students later alleged that Franco used the school to find and exploit young women under the guise of giving them professional opportunities. They said he encouraged them to appear in sexually explicit scenes that went beyond industry norms, and that refusals would result in lost roles or retaliation. In January 2018, Franco wore a Time's Up pin to the Golden Globe Awards, signaling solidarity with the movement against sexual harassment. But the gesture backfired almost immediately. That same night, multiple women, including actresses Sarah Tither Kaplan and Violet Paley, tweeted allegations against Franco, accusing him of hypocrisy. Franco's relationships in the industry began to falter. Longtime collaborator Seth Rogen publicly distanced himself, stating in 2021 that he had no plans to work with Franco again. Franco was effectively blacklisted from major productions. He disappeared from public view, with few public appearances or projects between 2019 and 2022. Before the official allegations, murmurs about Louis C.K. had circulated in comedy circles and online forums for years. People talked about an open secret, that he had exposed himself or masturbated in front of female comedians. In 2012, Gawker published a blind item suggesting that a popular comedian had a disturbing habit involving young women. Though the name wasn't used, industry insiders connected the dots. Yet Louis was still rising in fame, and the whispers never stuck, until the Me Too movement changed the rules. In November 2017, the New York Times published a bombshell article in which 5 women came forward to accuse Louis C.K. of sexual misconduct. Their accounts were eerily similar and deeply disturbing. Key points from the report. In 2002, comedians Dana Min Goodman and Julia Wolof were invited to Lewis's hotel room after a show. Once there, he asked if he could masturbate in front of them, then did it without waiting for a clear response. Abby Shackner, another comedian, said he masturbated during a phone call without her consent. Rebecca Corey, a fellow comic, said Lewis asked if he could masturbate in front of her while they were working on a TV project. She said no. A fifth woman, anonymous in the article, worked for Louis and said he frequently masturbated in his office without her consent. The pattern was clear, using his power and status to corner women, often in professional settings, and making them feel they couldn't say no or speak out without career consequences. The fallout was swift and unprecedented for a comedian of his stature. FX cut all ties with Louis C.K., ending their collaboration and removing him from all projects. HBO removed his past specials from its on-demand platforms. Netflix canceled an upcoming stand-up special. His film I Love You, Daddy, which included controversial content involving a young woman and an older man, was pulled before release. His representation, including agents and managers, dropped him. He went from comedy's crown jewel to pariah almost overnight. In January 2021, a series of alleged Instagram direct messages surfaced, posted anonymously by an account called House of Effie. The messages, allegedly from Hammer to various women, described sexual domination fantasies involving control, pain, and violence, obsessive language about owning women, detailed fantasies of cannibalism, including eating body parts, drinking blood, and carving initials into flesh. One message read, "I am 100% a cannibal. I want to eat you." Another, "I want to cut off one of your toes and keep it with me in my pocket so I always had a piece of you in my possession." While many initially dismissed the messages as fake or dark roleplay, multiple women soon came forward with real names and faces, accusing Hammer of much more than fantasy. Several women alleged that Hammer had used his fame and charm to manipulate them into non-consensual or emotionally coercive relationships. The most serious accusation came from Effie, the woman behind the original leak. In a March 2021 press conference, she alleged that Hammer raped her for over 4 hours in 2017. He slammed her head against a wall. He committed other violent acts without her consent. The press conference, alongside attorney Gloria Allred, made headlines around the world. Hammer denied the claims through his legal team, insisting all relationships were consensual and rooted in BDSM agreements. The industry reacted swiftly. Hammer was dropped from major film projects, including Shotgun Wedding with Jennifer Lopez, The Offer, a series about the making of The Godfather, $1 Billion Spy, his agency, WME, and publicist severed ties. His upcoming projects were either reshoots or recastings, and he became radio silent online. By mid-2021, he had reportedly checked into a rehab facility in the Cayman Islands for issues related to drug, alcohol, and sex addiction. In February 2021, actress Evan Rachel Wood, one of the first public accusers, came forward with a detailed statement accusing Manson of years of abuse, manipulation, and coercion starting when she was a teenager. She described the emotional and psychological abuse, controlling behavior isolating her from family and friends, physical abuse, and sexual assault. Her courage encouraged other women, including former partners and employees, to share similar stories. Following the allegations, Marilyn Manson was dropped by his record label, Loma Vista Recordings. His talent agency, CAA, severed ties. He was removed from several TV and film projects, including the series American Gods. Investigations were launched by both police and industry watchdogs. Manson denied the allegations, calling them horrible distortions of reality. In May 2018, Roseanne Barr posted a tweet about Valerie Jarrett, a former advisor to President Barack Obama, that many saw as racist. Muslim Brotherhood and Planet of the Apes had a baby VJ. The tweet was widely condemned as racist and offensive. The response was immediate and severe. ABC quickly canceled the reboot of Roseanne, which had just returned to air with high ratings. Advertisers pulled their support. Roseanne was banned from Twitter for a time. Roseanne apologized but insisted she was not racist, claiming her tweet was a joke that was misunderstood. In June 2020, multiple women accused Delia of inappropriate behavior, mostly via social media posts. The allegations included sending unsolicited explicit messages to underage girls, attempting to engage in sexual conversations with minors, using his celebrity status to intimidate or pressure young women. Many of the accusers shared screenshots of private messages and detailed accounts of their experiences. The accusations sparked immediate backlash. Netflix cut ties with Delia, removing him from the cast of You. Comedy clubs canceled scheduled performances. Agents and managers distanced themselves. Sponsors and brand deals were dropped. Chris D'Elia initially denied some of the allegations, but later issued a public apology admitting to inappropriate behavior, though he denied any illegal activity.